Alrighty. It is time to react to a very interesting game tonight, man. Second preseason game, obviously, for the black and gold. Pittsburgh Steelers facing off with the Buffalo Bills. We took that L 9-3. So, of course, we're going to react to that, man. Talk about it all, man. Obviously, we see y'all filling in here as well, man, in the comment section. Salute to each and every one of y'all rocking with me tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button one time on the front end and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Very, very, I'll say underwhelming performance, man. In terms of just initial thoughts of the game. Thought they was a lot more physical than us. Unfortunately, man, definitely controlled the trenches. Not what we want to see when we're talking about, how we play. We typically like to, win the trenches, but that was not the case tonight, man. Thought early on, even from a pass blocking perspective, and I'm sure y'all in the comment section, y'all gonna have some thoughts, some comments about this O-line. We're gonna talk about them tonight. We're gonna talk about them, but yeah, that was not the most flattering or it wasn't what we was looking for. Straight up like that, right? For either of the quarterbacks, Russ or Fields, man, both of them dudes when they were dropping back were under duress a lot. Also, didn't really get a chance to establish a consistent running game either. Thought we should have been able to do that a little bit better. But it's preseason. It's preseason. So we're not gonna overreact. We're not gonna trip all the way just yet. But we definitely would have liked to see that be a little bit better. Let's see, man. Some of the positives, though, from an offensive standpoint, man. Did like Van Jefferson. Shout out to Van. I thought that he was productive, man. Obviously, continuing to make some catches. GP continuing with his freakazoid circus type catches, or what should have been a catch. And shout out to the fact that Coach T did challenge something this week, right? We wanted him to challenge that joy last week, not this week's one, but I get it. And, it's what we expected. Kind of fell flat on our faces with that challenge, but it was a heck of a catch by GP, though. Salute him on that, man. But shout out to Russ, too, though, man. Didn't turn it over. Kept it clean, right? I thought Fields, though, with his legs, man, that was the big part. It was very Chicago-esque with Fields from my perspective, though. When you watch him anytime last year, it was kind of like that, man. He would have some moments throwing the football, have some moments scrambling around, but a lot of his production stemmed from his legs. Now, I think that's going to continue to be the topic of discussion, though, as we get ready for this last preseason game. Which style of quarterback do you like? And trust me, I'm going to get to the defense, and I see some of your super chats coming in here. I'm going to get to those as well, man. But I think that's really going to be the question, because obviously we see with Russ, man, we know the ability to throw the football is there, but you also see when the pocket was breaking down, he didn't have necessarily the same ability to escape that we saw from Justin Fields. But the flip side is with Justin Fields, he didn't look like he was going to be able to throw the football as consistent or to just the level that Russ was. We obviously know he missed that wide open touchdown late. I don't think Russ would have done that, right? But the flip side is you could see what Justin Fields can do in terms of escaping the pocket. And when he did decide to take off with the football, his ability to get chunk yardage, man. I think that's the part that makes Justin Fields exciting. And now you can kind of see why, everybody is so back and forth with those two guys. And even more so why when training camp's been going on, when you get a chance to see Justin Fields make some of these throws, is very exciting because you know what he can do running the football. But the problem is we need to see those throws that we saw in training camp transition to the game, and that was not the case for Justin Fields tonight. I thought that he was a little bit too one-dimensional in tonight's game, whereas obviously with Russ, he just didn't get enough time, to really show what he could do throwing the football from my perspective. Now, in terms of the defense side of the ball, though, thought defensively, man, thought the young guys showed up. Shout out to Nick Herbig, man. That's the guy. Keep listening, keep watching out for him, man. Cat's out the bag a little bit with him, man, because he keeps making plays. That's what he's been looking like since OTAs. That's what he's been looking like in training camp. And you can see now 2 games in the preseason, and this dude is flying around with his hair on fire, man, making a ton of plays in the backfield. I just think for him, he just needs an opportunity. We know TJ and Highsmith didn't play tonight, but that opened up the door for the young guy. And I'm telling you, as long as he keeps getting these opportunities, man, I think that he has a chance to be really good this year for us, man. Also, like what I saw in the trenches, man, guys like DeMarvin Leal, thought he had another good performance. Keanu Benton, I thought that he played well. When you talk about Larry Ogunjobi, he played well. Even though he was missing a sack, man, come on, bro. Finish the play. But I thought those guys in the trenches, man, continued to show their arrow continuing to point up, man, continuing to be consistent in terms of taking those steps forward. Definitely like that, man. I thought that the outside linebackers, too, some of the younger guys, they got a chance to play out there tonight, man. Julian, Jeremiah Moon, obviously. Another guy, man, I thought that those two dudes, man, did some good things on the edge. We know Julian had this, or Julia, excuse me, had that sack later in the game. And then an inside linebacker getting a chance to see Patrick Queen make his Steelers debut. Thought that he flew around out there. It wasn't perfect, but I thought for him, man, made some plays in pass coverage and just overall looked fast, man. That's the one thing I wanted to see from him, play fast. Obviously, we saw with Landon Roberts. Thought that he still was showing that physicality, that short tackling that you love to see. Peyton Wilson going down with the concussion sucked. But shout out to Mark Robinson, though, right? Can we shout out to Mark Robinson? Because I thought that he was on a mission tonight, man. Not just on special teams, but on defense as well. Making big plays, coming downhill, looking like a guy that's trying to take another step forward, man, and not be forgotten in this rotation. So, like I said, I definitely was liking that. And obviously, Ryan Watts was another dude that I thought, man, really stood out tonight, man, on that defensive side of the ball. So, like I said, man, wasn't the best offensively. Defensively was not the best. But I do feel like, man, defensively, man, we did do some positive things out there. Miles Killebrew also getting that interception tonight, too, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to Trubisky as well, man. Trubisky, I mean, looking out, bro. He looked out. But yeah, man. Shout out to Killebrew, though, man. Catch the ones they throw to you, baby. And he definitely did that tonight, man. So that was definitely good to see. Oh, yeah, shout out. I see you. Let's go, UW. My Travis Adams, yeah, he also was a dude, man, I thought played well tonight, man. Like I said, the interior D-line, I like what I'm seeing from those dudes, man. These young guys, or some of them are young, some of them are a little bit, mid NFL career. But I thought that they all, man, looked good tonight, man. I was definitely impressed with that. And as a whole, when we're just talking offense versus defense, I thought defensively, they did a good job of minimizing the damage. We obviously know offensively, man, we weren't able to sustain a ton of positivity in terms of, in the first half, sustaining drives. In the second half, finishing drives with points. We obviously went for it 3 times on 4th down. All 3 of those were negatives. And then we had the one field goal attempt that we missed from 52. And then we had the other one that we did hit. Shout out to Boz. But with both of those scenarios, man, I just thought that, for the defense, every time they took the field, regardless of where they were at up there, they did not allow 7 to be scored. They kept it as field goal, field goal, field goal. And, at the end of the day, and sometimes it's like that, that's what you just have to do as a defense, man. Stop the bleeding as best you can and hope that, offense at some point would make a play to kind of get us out of that stadium. But, like I said, man, that was kind of how I looked at it tonight. But it is the second preseason game, man. So we'll see. But let's go. All right. So with that being the case, I'm gonna go ahead and hit some of these supers real quick. But actually, before we get to the supers, right, since I didn't give you my little quick brief on this thing, drop it in the comment section where you're tuning in from. Let me give you a shout out real quick. And then after that, we're gonna get this thing activated with these supers and with some of your regular comments as well, baby. All right. Now, eventually, we're going to do one of these post-game streams. This is going to be after a victory, all right? So, hopefully sooner rather than later, though. All right. Shout out to Rod Doll. I see you in the building, baby. 330 Youngstown, Ohio. Share a line, baby. Share a line. American Assassin tapping in from Tampa. Then I got the homie Mike Hood in the 614, Columbus. And I see you, Country Malik 48 in the 843, Charleston, South Carolina. Zach 4499 in the 603, Durham, New Hampshire, baby. Salute you all the way in Durham, New Hampshire. I see you, X Concepts, in that 724, Claridge, PA. And he says, Killebrew picked off Mitch, and he got the fire emoji. Nah, salute that, man. I love when Killebrew makes defensive plays, because I know he nice on teams, but this is that reminder that, hey, yo, he was drafted as a safety. My man can't play defense. He's just a teamer. But he is capable to make some plays on occasion. I thought it was dope to see the homie do that, man. So salute him. All right. Malvo does it. Hit us with the 5-6-2. Niff said, salute you on that one. I see you, Jacob. Malesio in the 919, North Carolina, as always. And Jaron, Pittsburgh Steelers for life in the 559, Visalia, California. Don, Hefe Quan, always tapping in the 323, Watts, California. And I'm going to end it with the homie Supreme Quan in the 203, Connecticut, baby. Salute you. And each and every one of y'all rocking with us tonight, man. as we get our post game on. Like I said, man, we're gonna be doing this after every single Steelers game this season. Home, away, 1 o'clock, prime time, 4 o'clock. It doesn't matter. This what we on, all right? So y'all keep rocking with me, man. I like how y'all be, like I said, showing out and showing support. So we're gonna definitely keep doing more and more of these, man. All right, we got what's that? T star F. He says, and shout out to your super as well. Appreciate you for that. Says Arthur Canada offense. Oh, okay. So he says he's not a fan of what he was seeing from Arthur Smith tonight. Now, I can understand what you're saying, man. Part of it I will say is this preseason not going to show everything. So some stuff was going to be called conservatively. I thought that when you're talking about with Russ specifically, wasn't a ton of, you know, crazy motion or crazy things on the front end of it. But I do feel like they did show some stuff. We obviously know we had the Cordell Patterson play where he started out wide, tried to get him one-on-one, fast motion him, hit him in the flat and see if he could make a guy miss. I thought that was a cool little play. We obviously, want to see more from Cordell Patterson as he continues to, welcome himself to Steelers Nation. We know he had missed a lot of time with the injury. But yeah, he wasn't trying to do too much today, man. Even the GP plays. We know last week we saw the noun pass. It turns him just getting up, throwing it right to GP in the screen and letting him kind of, go from there. We didn't really get that. But once again, I don't think he's trying to show everything because it is the preseason. But the one thing that did continue to show up with Arthur Smith in his offense specifically, though, 12 personnel. A lot of 2 tight end setups, man. We're still playing that bigger ball, and I do like that. I just wish that for us, we would attack it a little bit more or attack out of it a little bit more. Now, part of that, like I said, I do feel like is because it's preseason. Once you get to week 1 regular season, everybody's out there and they've had, the full week of practice. Y'all got the 1 reps. I think we will see a more sophisticated version of it. But I just think for right now, he just doesn't want to show too much. Now, the difference also is that would be, peak Matt Canada in terms of how he just calls. We've learned that throughout, the 3 years that he was here as coordinator. Arthur Smith, we've seen him be able to expand upon the playbook, man. So I'm going to give him a pass on that one, man. I just feel like that's just part of the preseason from a coordinator standpoint. You don't want to show too much of what you want to do, man, because there's a lot of defensive coordinators out here, man, that are very smart. And if you show it now, that gives them a lot of time to prepare for you, and that can make it a lot harder for us once the regular season hits, man. But yeah, shout out to X Concepts. They did not run that jet sweep, baby. So salute to that, man. Keep the jet sweep up out of here for right now, man. All right. So yeah. But like I said, I'm definitely loving that 12 personnel, man. All right. Let's see. Donovan LaRue. Shout out to you, Donovan LaRue. Says, what is this O-line? I thought we got better, not worse, especially Broderick. Yes. I figured that we were going to go there. Yeah, not the best situation with the offensive line tonight. We obviously know no Nate Herbig tonight. That was the big talk. Shoulder injury is going to be out for the rest of the preseason. That kind of popped up on everybody's radar right before the game started. So Zach Frazier got the start. I thought Zach played well. Wasn't perfect, but as a rookie, man, you get out there and start against, some of the guys, and Buffalo didn't have all their starters in either. But, versus some of those guys that are, pretty high end, or some of those guys are a little bit higher end. Thought that Frazier did well, man. I thought that, in terms of him run blocking, I thought was really good. Some of the stuff I saw was more so second level, just trying to, be instead of just a good play, make it a great play. Just wasn't being able to finish on some of it, but as a whole, I thought he played well, man. So tip of the cap to him. But yeah, with Broderick, man, it wasn't the best performance. Now with Gregory Rousseau, I'm gonna tell you now, man. From the Buffalo perspective, there are very high expectations for Gregory Rousseau. This a former first-round pick, a guy that, they think can be a true double-digit sack, Pro Bowl caliber player, and he's starting to come into his own. So it was a good test to see Broderick face a guy like that in a different body type than what he sees in practice with TJ and Highsmith, who are a little bit shorter and more of the compact style. You look at Gregory Rousseau, that's one of those long arm, leaner type rushers. And, I thought that the speed kind of gave Broderick some issues, and that was why he kind of got turned around the way that he was. And you obviously could see Gregory Rousseau beating him inside because of that. I wasn't tripping all the way with that one at first because I'm like, all right, I respect Gregory Rousseau. I think that he's a very talented player. I had my issue when it was the backup, Javon Solomon, number 56. Solomon's a good player, but Solomon should not be able to have that type of success against Broderick Jones. That was where I kind of took a little bit of a pause and was like, yo, I want to see that not happen again versus that type of player because we expect Broderick to be a lot better and we have higher expectations for him. So I think in that sense, man, he's going to have to cut that tape on and just see what he did wrong. I think for him, though, he'll bounce back. He's more than talented enough, and we're going to need him. We're going to be relying upon him. So that's the part that, yeah, we got to get that right and get it right in a hurry because, I mean, we even saw last week when it was Troy out there, he struggled a little bit. So you don't want to have both of our first round, tackles taking steps like that where we're going to feel like our quarterbacks are going to be in a little bit of a duress in harm's way, so to speak. But like I said, man, we will see how those guys respond. Oddly enough, though, I thought at times, man, with Dan Moore, I thought that he looked fine on the left side. I was like, yo, that's kind of clean over there, man. So that's the part where I'm like, we just got to get that whole situation figured out, man, because if we give Russ time, he's going to be able to take advantage, in terms of utilizing George Pickens down the grass and being able to throw this football. But if we don't, we saw how it looked today, man. And it was tough, man. It was tough. So, like I said, that's the thing, like I said, that we definitely got to improve upon with that offensive line. But I'm with you, Donovan LaRue. I am with you, baby. Yeah, definitely got to be better than what it was tonight. All right, and then he also came back and said, can't be mad with Russ. Can't be mad with Russ. He was being mauled. He was being mauled tonight. And that is accurate, man. When you drop back, well, I think he had, was it 10 dropbacks total? Let me pull him up real quick. Yeah, 10 dropbacks total, 8 completions with 8 of 10 for 47 yards, but sacked 3 times. Sacked 3 times on 10 dropbacks and hit, I want to say, a couple of more times as well. That's a tough night, man. But once again, man, Russ still, I thought, made pretty good decisions when he was out there. I like the decision that he made prior to, this would have been his last drive. It wasn't the full 2-minute warning just yet. It was the drive prior to Justin Fields taking over for the 2-minute drill. But I thought for him, man, that decision to hit Muth, I want to say it was, no, he threw it to, it was either Muth or Jalen Warren, I want to say, on the underneath and kind of allowed them to just, take the safer play, get the yardage, but then it allowed Boz to attempt a 50-plus yarder. I like the decision with that versus enforcing it or doing something that wouldn't have put us in a position to at least having a chance to score. So that's the type of stuff that I do like what I see from Russ with that, man. But yeah, as a whole, it was hard to kind of judge his performance tonight because every time he dropped back, it's like, bro, he's getting crushed, man. These dudes are all over the place. So like I said, that's the part we definitely want to see us improve upon with our protection, especially going into this last preseason game. Hey, man, and shout out to y'all being here tonight, too, man. I like how we rocking out, man. I see you, Spice Creations. I see you, Lou Boy. I see you, The Truth Hurts, Alex Allgood, Tony Carlson. I got you, man. Now, let's get it, man. Like that. I like it a lot. Take a sip of this here water. Ryan McPherson said, man, the O-line looked the same as it's done the past 3 years. Trust me, man. I was sitting next to the wife, and I said the same thing. I was like, babe, this ain't what we want now. We got to be better than that one, man. Got to be. All right. Let's go, you Dub. Shout out to you rocking with us tonight, man. He says, tonight was sloppy on offense. Too much lack of execution. Same issues as last season with not executing well enough. Broderick looked bad as well. Let's go, UW. You always hit it on the head. Shout out to you tonight, man. In offense, I do agree, looks sloppy. But I feel like the sloppy was different than last week. I thought last week's sloppy was more so the pre-snap stuff. We couldn't get the QB center exchange taken care of. Ball on the ground twice, right? We had I forgot the penalty we had last week. But then I know this week we started off with Calvin Austin in the false start. Then we given up more of the pressure from sacks, but it wasn't necessarily ball being on the ground. And I think that's just a different type of, we don't like it. And I think Coach Tomlin kind of alluded to that. He said that, I think he said it was better than last week, but don't confuse that with being good. And I think he kind of hit it on the head. I'm like, all right, the ball wasn't on the ground. We didn't technically turn it over, but we still were 4 of 12 on third downs. We were 0 for 3 on fourth down attempts. We had pre-snap penalty. We allowed a lot of sacks and pressure, and we couldn't run the ball consistently. You look at our rushing total versus the Bills' rushing total. We ended up 27 attempts for 106 yards. Bills 34 for $1.67, so 4.9 per carry. We had 3.9 per carry, but the issue is these are inflated because 42 of these rushing yards came from Justin Fields on QB scrambles. He was 8 of 42. So you take with him 42 yards. Now we're sitting at less than 70 rushing yards. That's not what you want to see, man. And that's, part of the offense looking sloppy, man. Not being able to stay on the field in terms of getting first downs, but then also not being able to run the ball. So that way, when the offense line isn't protecting the best, you kind of allow them to get away with it because we're run blocking. You run. Now you might not be the best at pass pro, but I can play action pass off of this. And that's the part where you can see where if you're one dimensional here, it doesn't even give you a chance to, struggle a little bit here. And that was where I thought we really, got exposed tonight from an offensive standpoint. But once again, it is the preseason. And with that, you just got to, take it into context. You understand? All right, we can be better here. There were some things that I thought looked good. I thought that, like I said, Zach Frazier, I thought that he played well tonight. I thought that Dan Moore played well tonight. James Daniels, I thought at times he played, he was decent. Obviously, we know it's Sayumalu, him, Broderick, they kind of got, gave up a little bit of pressure when those plays. Man, I wasn't the biggest fan of that type of stuff. But as a whole, you could still see some individuals where you're like, all right, that part looked good. But like I said, it's just the preseason. So still, we ain't tripping, all right? Shout out to AJ Martinez rocking out with us tonight as well, man. I see you in the building, man, paying it forward. Let's see, man. You dropped the super chat. Or no. You are gifting an upper room membership. I'm trying to see who it's for real quick. Let me see. Can I find it? Because I want to shout out the dude's name. You feel me? But shout out to you, though, AJ, because you're a rock star, always paying it forward, man. But, yo, let me see who this person is real quick. Chat ain't working with me tonight. But either way, AJ Martinez, shout out to you, man, being a rock star, like paying it forward, and to whoever it was that he gifted this upper room membership to. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. All right, let's go, UW. He says, we might have to roll out Dan Moore Jr. and Troy as our starting tackles if Broderick Jones keeps struggling. Oh, and it was 900 Juice. Shout out to everybody that gave me the update. 900 Juice. Welcome to the upper room, baby. Hey, that's what I like to see, baby. 900. But let's go UW. Yeah, I mean, I can see a scenario where that's the potential of the starting lineup, but I also feel like tonight was just a bad Broderick night. I don't think that that's going to be what we see from him throughout the duration of the season. I think that he's a lot better than that, and I think he'll watch this tape and agree with himself that, yeah, man, I just had a bad night, man. And sometimes it's like that. I'm just glad it happened in the preseason versus the regular season. But I still do feel that if I am not starting Troy, I would still like to do Dan at left, Broderick at right, just with the thought process that Broderick has a little bit more experience, whereas Troy, he has, 3 preseason series, I think it was, last week before he got hurt. And he's going to be on the shelf until we get to week 1. So I'm just not a fan of rookie injured, and then you just throw him out there starting week 1. That makes me a little bit uneasy, a little bit uncomfortable. Whereas at least with Broderick, even if he is struggling, he is still a dude that we feel like has high-end athleticism and talent, and he's very young. We just feel like, yo, you need more reps. Get you reps, you'll be better. So that's the part where I just feel like I've already seen Broderick at least have some of that and have success last year. So I would rather him get out there first versus Troy, like I said, coming fresh off of the injury that he's dealing with and then just getting thrust into that action. That's just how I look at it. But shout out to Dan Moore, at least for him. He is kind of being the calming presence in the midst of, this tackle situation that we're kind of going through. Because if he wasn't playing, at least like how he's played these past 2 weeks, man, it would be having us feeling a lot more chaotic right now. So shout out to Dan, at least for that part, man. Shout out to King Whooper in the buildings that's simply Moats King. It's all love, baby. That's how we do. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. All right, and he says he also hit us up with another super chat. He said, had his baby shower today. Let's go. Said, I missed the game. I'm about to rewatch this video and see what you think. Well, shout out to you, man. Well, shout out to the baby shower. Hope it was a vibe. Hope it was fire. And hope you and, wifey, baby mom, the mother had a great time, baby. All right. Salute to that though, man. Salute to it. But yeah, not the best. Not the best tonight. Yeah. Just not the best tonight. Just not the best tonight. But it was a vibe though. It was a vibe. Shout out to the Bills coming to town, man. All right. We know the boys had to joint practice. Shout out to Mr. Trubisky as well, man. All right. So yeah, there we go. All right, let me see who else has a super in here. Shout out to all these supers that are coming in here tonight, man. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you from the heart, baby. Tim Mohap. Shout out to you, Tim. He says, Moats, as an edge rusher, how would you attack Broderick with his arm brace? Is that red meat for a pass rusher? Or is it a bigger issue for Broderick? Shout out to Tim, man. Tim said, yo, I'm not leaving any stone unturned. I see the arm brace. Is that what is going on? I'll say this. The arm brace, it can be one of two things. Either you really are wounded, or it's just a nice accessory to kind of make you feel or a little bit more confident because you sustained some type of elbow injury before. I know my rookie year when I was in Buffalo, I had dislocated my elbow, and I used to have to wear an arm brace very similar to Broderick's. The first 4 games after it, I really needed it. Towards the end of the season, though, I realistically could have played without it, but it was just kind of like, man, it mentally gave me some reassurance. We also saw J.J. Watt would do similar things, right? So part of me is like back and forth. Did you hyperextend it at some point and it just kind of gives you that peace of mind? Or are you legitimately compromised and you kind of need that for the additional support? I haven't really heard anything one way or the other, so I'm going to lean with just it's more for him to just feel better about whatever it is when he goes out there versus it truly being a issue because we haven't seen anything pop up from an injury standpoint. But the one thing that I felt like was Broderick's issue was more so just the speed. I felt like this week and last week he's been a little bit surprised by the speed of these rushers. Troy the same way, and that's when you're seeing these guys instead of being their shoulders being was it perpendicular, right? Being perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, they start boxing, and that's the part, or excuse me, being parallel to the line of scrimmage, they start boxing and making them perpendicular, and that's what you don't want to see because that allows those guys to get to the inside of the rush, and that's what you saw with Broderick versus Greg Russo today. Russo takes him upfield. Broderick starts to do what? Instead of staying square, he starts to turn his shoulders because he's worrying about this part of the speed. That allows Greg to get that inside arm on that breastplate. And now it doesn't matter how big Broderick is. He's going this direction, shoulder pads facing that way. He's almost, Greg could have threw him over one arm essentially. And that's what you saw right there. But it was set up off of Gregory's ability to get off the ball and take him upfield. So that's why for me, if I'm coaching Broderick, just from what I saw, and I have not had a chance to go back, cut the all 22 on and look at every little minute detail with it. But just from what I saw, I would simply tell him, man, trust your athleticism and make that guy have to beat you around the edge. Because even if he gets on top of you as a speed rusher, you still, in terms of Broderick, have the ability to ride that guy by and make him have to make a heck of a play in terms of reaching with that outside arm for the strip. But Russ, Fields, they got the ability to step up and get up outside them pockets. So that's the part that I would say. Whereas when you turn the way that he turned, now you allowing that guy to get to the inside. And now, that's the easiest way for an outside linebacker to get to the quarterback. We want to beat you to the inside every single time. So that would be the one thing that I would say for Broderick. But like I said, man, for him, I think he'll be better, man, because he has all the tools, all the traits to be better. Just felt like, man, Gregory Russo's a good player, though, man. And that's a guy that, like I said, has a lot of promise, a lot of optimism surrounding him up in the Buffalo fan base, man. Shout out to AJ Martinez also tapping in, man. Says, long live us. Oh, long live us all. And AJ, too. Blessings and love to all. Respect to Don, X-Concept, and Mike, N55. Shout out to AJ Martinez, always showing love, man. Rocking with us, man. Regardless of when it is, you always in the building, baby. So salute you. Salute you. Sleeping _ twin says, watching Steelers D get picks and Russ do nothing with it brought back Kenny Pickett trauma from last year. Phil should start 100% or 100%. Him and Russ are close. Okay. When you say close, I think that, depending on the perspective that somebody might want to take, I can see where they could try to say that. If you look at Justin Fields tonight and you say, man, he at least was moving the offense up and down the field with his legs. He had us in scoring position multiple times. Sure, you could say it's close. I think the people that are going to say that it's not close are going to look at it and say that Russ, even under duress, was still making better decisions and he was still more of a thrower of the football, whereas with Fields, it looked more one-dimensional tonight. Then the other caveat is when Russ was out there is obviously versus not the full starting Bills defense, but the majority of their better players. Whereas for Fields, struggled early on, and then when those Bills defenders started to rotate out even more so, that's kind of when you saw Fields being able to have a little bit more success, but it was still more so limited to just legs, not arms. And especially at that stage of the game, this is Justin Fields we're talking about. You would want to see him be able to elevate above, the guys that were on that field in the third and especially in the fourth quarter, and really be able to show some more production from a passing standpoint. Because as a edge rusher, you look at a Justin Fields right now and you're kind of excited. It's kind of like playing Lamar Jackson a couple of years ago before he was as good of a passer. You feel like you're going to get a shot every single time against him because he doesn't get the ball out on time. It's a lot of improvisation. It's a lot of, hold the ball, let me move around, and hopefully somebody will come open as I scramble or I'll take off. But the higher end edge rushers, man, they look at that as, man, this is just opportunities to get sacks, opportunities to get stats. And as long as I can keep this guy contained in the pocket, he hasn't proven in games yet the consistency enough to really be able to hurt you throwing the football. And I think that that's the part where some people are going to pump the brakes and say, we don't want to go with Justin Fields just yet, because that seems like it's going to be a little bit more of a limited approach, and we're going to have this Chicago Bears type of situation that Chicago fans weren't all the way happy with. Whereas, like I said, with Russ, if you give him time, he is a guy that is still very much capable of throwing the football and making beautiful plays with his arm, but he still has some athleticism. He's just not to the full extent of a Justin Fields. So I think that that's going to be the push and pull that we're going to all be going through this week. And I feel like depending on how next game goes as well, that's, it could keep it going even more so. But the one thing I will say about Justin Fields that continues to separate him from, the quarterbacks that we had last year, both in Kenny Pickett and Mitch, when the play isn't there, whether it's lack of separation from the receivers or he just can't see it or the protection isn't there, he still has the ability to pull the football down and pick up yards with his legs. And we saw that time and time again tonight. And that, once again, is what makes Justin Fields unique. Remember, he led the NFL and broke the quarterback single season rushing record that Michael Vick held. He broke that just a year ago because of what you saw tonight. If it's not there and he can't see it, or if he just doesn't feel comfortable, he is going to pull it and he is going to run. And when he takes off, he's dangerous. He is dangerous. And we saw that tonight as well, man. All right. Shout out to Mike Hood. Mike Hood says, everyone relax. It's preseason. Didn't even game plan. And that's a big fact. Even though I do feel like, I know Coach T, he ain't game planning the second preseason game. You'd be like, yo, come on, Coach, can we just a little bit, baby? Like, nah, we good. Save for the regular season. So I get it. But he says, I'll be concerned if we are having this discussion after game one. Salute to all, AJ the GOAT. No, shout out to you, Mike Hood. And I would say this, man. I do agree in terms of not tripping as a whole, because schematically, we're not going to do certain things that would put us in the best position to score. My thing more so is I look at the individual matchup stuff. And when I look at Broderick individually, his matchup tonight, that had zero to do with vanilla play calling or anything. It's just a guy losing his one-on-one. In preseason, we're more so trying to see, can you win your one-on-one? At least that's how Coach Tomlin approaches it. Some of the other teams, they do game plan. They want to see, can their coordinator scheme up instead of the first 15, maybe the first 5, right? Can we get the first drive coming out of the halftime, right? They'll have that type of stuff schemed up. Whereas for Coach Tomlin, he makes a point of emphasis to put you in vanilla situations in the preseason, or less than advantageous situations in the preseason, with the hopes of finding out who can win one-on-ones. Can you be a guy, or do I have to scheme you to be productive? Because if I have to scheme you to be productive, then I'm looking at you in a very different manner, in contrast to if I think you're a guy that can just go out there and it doesn't matter who we're playing against, it doesn't matter the body tape, it doesn't matter the call, that guy can't stop you, offense or defense. That's what we as the Pittsburgh Steelers have the intentions on in the preseason. And that's the part, like I said, for me, that I'm just like, I want to see us be better in that aspect, not necessarily, yeah, man, we got to be better in the red zone, or man, schematically, why are we going to call, the zone read to the field on 4th and 2 or 4th and whatever, when everybody knows that that was a play that was coming. Everybody knew it was going to be some type of run option to the field, right? But it's preseason. So that's the problem. I'm not tripping on that per se, but the other stuff, like I said, those one-on-one matchups, that was more so what had me just feeling like, yeah, I want to see us be a lot better in those scenarios, man, next week. Shout out to official momentum as well. He says, Moats, big time to set this game up. LOL. Nah, chill. Stall me out, man. I ain't even do that. You see, I got Steelers gear on, all right? I started to come. I was like, I ain't about to put on nothing neutral. I'm coming down in Steelers gear. I'm making sure that y'all know who I'm rocking with, all right? Got my Steelers gear on. So y'all leave me alone. Show me some space. Show me some love. But yeah. Shout out to Coach Tomlin, challenging tonight. He gave us a challenge call tonight, man. Step in the right direction. We just got to get it flip-flop with last week and this week's for the timing of it. But, hey, step in the right direction. All right, let's go, UW. He says it dies also depends on how bad Broderick Jones' injury is. Hold on. I'm not sure what that was from. Oh, you're saying in terms of your earlier super chat when you were saying that you think early on it should be Dan Moore and Troy potentially starting. He said it also depends on how bad Jones' injury is now. I don't feel like it's anything crazy with Broderick, man. I don't feel like it's an injury situation. I feel like that's what you're talking about. I think for him, man, just got to play better. It was a rough night, bad matchup, maybe. But it can't be bad matchups for Broderick. We need him. We're going to be dependent on him in a major way. So, yeah. Shake yourself off. But we don't have time to do the moping around. We don't have time to, in the words of Coach Tomlin, seek comfort. Because next week, them dudes going to be licking their chops saying, man, if he was doing that to him, wait till I get a chance to get at him. So that's the part where he's going to have to just make sure that, shake himself off and get ready to roll, man. All right, AJ Martinez, and thank you for reminding me that it was 900 juice. I see your super chat. Shout out to you, man. He also says X1 Concepts lighting the way. Shout out, AJ, man, being a major contributor to the channel, man. Like I said, we definitely appreciate you from the heart. And Ben said, man, I got you, man. You asked me about Mark Robinson on defense, man. I'm going to talk about him some more in a little bit, but shout out to Mark. I was definitely enjoying what I saw from the homie tonight, man. And 900 juice. Yeah, I will drop a film session this week, man. I'm contemplating right now. I was feeling Nick Herbig, man. I felt like I wanted to drop a tape on Nick Herbig, and I also was feeling Patrick Queen because it was his first performance, man, as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Made his debut, man. So, like I said, defensively, those are the two guys I'm leaning towards right now, man. Still waiting on something on offense, man. Offense it just wasn't the most appeasing. And I try not to put the bad tape up there too often, So I'm gonna hold off on them dudes on that side. But I'm leaning right now for young Nick Herbig, man. I think that another game like how he had tonight, man. It's like, yeah, let me talk about some of these plays, man. And then, like I said, with Patrick Queen, I thought he did some cool stuff as well, man. Lou Bowie said, "Now we want to see that tape on Fields. Put that Justin Fields tape out." Like I said, shout out to Justin Fields, man. I'm ready to go back when the All-22 drops because I do want to see on some of the plays where he did decide to run or he was holding the ball. Was it due to guys not being open or was it due to him not seeing the field? And that's the questions that a lot of people had with him in Chicago because it kind of looked like what the tape was today. A lot of him holding the football, a lot of him running around, and on occasion he would make some cool throws, but the majority of the time it was him utilizing his legs to have any type of consistent success. So that's the part for me where I don't want to put that out there right now until I could see that all 22. But yeah, it definitely looked a little bit more one dimensional tonight, and that's ultimately, like I said, that I don't feel like it's sustainable to win in this league. I think you'll have moments, and that's kind of what Justin Fields' career has been to this stage. He's had a lot of moments, but not a ton of consistent quarterback play, and I think that's going to continue to be the question surrounding him, man. All right, all right. Let me see. Let me see. O'Shea Barton. Shout out to O'Shea Barton as well, man. Your third super chat from the heart. Greatly appreciate you, baby. Says, if you think Justin overthrew that TD, you should never talk football again. The receivers stopped running. GP, Van Jefferson, and Calvin convert easily. Hey, well, O'Shea, maybe you know ball then, baby. Shout out to you, baby. All right, shout out to you. All right. Shout out to Mike Lang also, baby. Let's see. He says, wasn't a good performance for both sides of the ball, but we also got tricked by the good offensive performances in the preseason last year. So just know the preseason doesn't write the story for the entire season. And that's real. You can't, overreact to the preseason regardless of how good or not good it may be, man. There's times where you look at it and you're like, we got awful. And then the regular season hits and you're like, no, we're not, man. We just needed to have the guys out there for 4 quarters, get in rhythm, and actually game plan versus our opponents. I think some of that will help out this offense. But then there are some other times where we saw last year in the preseason where, man, we were cooking folks, right? And it is just kind of like, all right, bro, we get to the regular season and it's like, where was that? Right? Can we get that to happen now? And that's the part where, like I said, we definitely just have to take all this with a little bit of a grain of salt, so to speak, man. So it will be interesting, though, like I said, going forward to just see. Like I said, I don't anticipate us doing a ton of game plan in this last game or doing a lot of crazy schematic stuff offensively or defensively because we're going to be right on the heels of week 1. You just hope, like I said, for me, everybody stay healthy and we win more of our one-on-ones. That's the one thing that I don't like these past 2 games. I feel like we've been losing a lot more of the one-on-one matchups offensively and defensively, and that's the thing that we're going to want to just see a difference of in this last preseason game. But definitely no more injuries, man, because like I said, we kind of got bumped up a little bit tonight. Jalen Warren going down. Like I said, he got the hamstring. Let me get the full recap, man. Jalen Warren had the hamstring. Anthony Averett hamstring as well. We know Peyton Wilson went down. Peyton Wilson went down with a concussion. Nate Herbig, prior to the game, we said had the shoulder injury. Beanie Bishop, they didn't say what he was dealing with, but apparently he's been bumped up as well, man. Got banged up in the joint practice versus the Bills, man. So he wasn't available tonight as well. And then Tyler Matakavich went down. I don't know if he returned or not, though, because like I said, man, that was back late in the game and they started rotating guys in and out. But I know he had went down for a little bit as well, man. No, in fact, I think he did return to the game. Excuse me on that one. All right, all right. All right, Phantom TV says, I'm convinced Justin Fields is Tariq St. Patrick. Man, you got to chill, bro. Shout out to all the power people out there. Power 1, 2, Power 4, and Ghost and all this other good stuff, man. All right. Shout out to Tariq, too, man. Tariq, the first kid that made me really not like him all because of his character on Power, man. Shout out to Tariq. But he bossed back up in the second one. He bossed back up. But shit, he was definitely one of them kids who was like, But shout out to Justin Fields, man. But I see what you're saying right there, man. You funny for that, Phantom. All right, JS says, time to be realistic. We suck. It's about misdirections in modern offenses. You say, oh, look, at Tennessee, who cares? Smith runs a 10-year-old offense. I mean, if you are drawing that conclusion off of 2 preseason games, you need to be getting paid a lot more money than what you're currently doing because you need to be, some NFL analyst, some high-end coordinator, something like that, man. If we be real, this is Vanilla's preseason. He's not showing his playbook right now. Why would he? These games don't count. Teams that go undefeated and dominate the preseason with all these cool trickery plays and stuff like that, they set themselves up for failure. Because ultimately, you're trying to win games that are meaningless and more so are designed for individual evaluations versus high-end schematics and, trying to really get into the scheme and the strategy part of it. But like I said, if you're able to depict all of that and just simply break it down to misdirections and, modern offense, and it's that simple to you, like I said, man, you definitely are in the wrong profession wherever you're at, baby. All right. But shout out to you, though, JS. Shout out to you. All right. Maximus. Maximus. He says, will Brandon Ayuk stay with San Fran after watching this game? Um, if anything, he might say, shoot, you need somebody that can really get open. Might need somebody that can get open fast. You might need somebody that can just be there right now. If he's feeling like that, he might be feeling like he's the guy. Very different approach. But at the same time, you also could look at it and say, I don't like what I saw there. I want to stay in San Fran. I don't know one way or the other how he's going to look at it. I think if he's smart, he understands his preseason. And that's that. But you also see an opportunity. And that's the one thing I'll say as a former athlete. You don't look at it as, oh my God, they ain't gonna never do well. You're like, bro, I'm gonna be the reason why they do well. And I think that for Brandon Ayuk, he might have that mindset. If he does, that's what you want for your potential franchise guy that you can be paying close to $30 million per year. You want a guy that's like, yo, I don't care what the situation is. I'm nice. And if I'm there, we all are going to be better. That's what you want to see. Not, hey, man, I'm staying away from that. Because if that's his mindset, man, you don't want him over here anyways. So that's kind of like I said, how I look at that, though. All right. And shout out to Mike Lang tapping. And he says, Ryan Watts makes the 53? Question mark. I think he has a strong chance, man. Last week, I thought that he played really well. Like I said, his first game as a full-time safety. I thought that he tackled really well in space. I thought that he did some good things in coverage. Obviously, I thought he should have had a pick last week, man. I thought that this week, though, very productive once again, especially versus the run, man, tackling the football. I think tonight, let me see what he ended up with. Had him credited with 6 tackles. Shoot, shout out to him, man. He tied for the lead on the team, man, with him, Mark Robinson, and Nick Herbig. All 3 of those guys having 6 tackles tonight, man. So, yeah, shout out to Ryan Watts, man. I definitely thought that he was impressive, though, man. Like I said, I like what I'm seeing from him, man. He keeps flying around. He's a productive player right now, man. That's what you want to see, though, from the young guy. Look fast. Don't look like the moment's too big. And more importantly, keep being productive. When I look down and I can say 6 tackles, it's hard to talk bad when you're like, yo, this dude is getting that. That's what you want to see. And it wasn't in the sense of, oh, he's getting picked on 6 tackles because this guy caught 6 passes. Nah. We know Buffalo's approach tonight was run, occasional pass, but run. So with that, that was the part where you could at least see him getting the football or the ball carrier on the ground, and that's what you ultimately want to see if the safety is getting that ball up on him like that. I mean, you don't want your safety to lead your team in tackles, but it's also good to see that he is capable of tackling the football. But like I said, man, that's how the preseason goes at times. It's never going to be perfect because we're not playing all our guys. It will look a lot different on defense when Cam Hayward is out there and TJ Watt is out there and Alex Highsmith is out there. I think that changes, the flow of the game as a whole. Offensively, we know we're not at that stage where we're really sitting guys out, but I think when we get to the point where we're actually game planning and we're saying, hey, Najee, we are going to try to scheme these plays to run the football to establish this part of it. Hey, Jalen Warren, we're going to do certain things to scheme you open. Pat move or Fire move. We're going to do certain things, like I said, man, get you a little bit more involved in the offense. GP, I felt like last week we saw a little bit more emphasis on him, whereas this week it was more vanilla towards him. I want to see when they actually start scheming it up for 4 quarters. When they're setting up the comeback. Now you get the double move, take that shot. That doesn't happen in just 3 series. That takes time to set that up, man. But that's the part that I want to see when we get to the regular season. We're not going to get those answers. We're not going to get that type of stuff in the preseason because, number one, guys aren't playing that long. But number two, you don't want to put that type of stuff on tape just yet. But trust me, when the regular season gets here, man, Arthur Smith is going to have that thing, right? And these players are going to look a lot better. Now, like I said, schematics, I'm not tripping on that. I'm more so focused on these individual players, man, offensive linemen specifically, because it's been 2 weeks now where I just don't feel like we've put our best foot forward for the whole time that we've been out there and how it's really impacted the game. It's not allowed us to have consistency running the ball, and it's really limited us from a passing standpoint, man. So, like I said, that's the one thing that I do want to see us not take care of, but I do want to see us, like I said, improve there sooner rather than later, man. All right, so let me see what the congregation is talking about. But y'all hit that like button, man, if y'all digging tonight, man. How we doing it? And don't forget to subscribe, even though we get to the back end of this thing tonight. Shout out to all these preseason games too. I feel like I've been watching preseason football, boy, since 1 o'clock today. Yeah, yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, yeah. Shout out though. Shout out to the games tonight, man. And then we still got a game on right now. What was it, Dallas and Raiders playing? Yep. Got UFC fights too, man. So shout out to all this. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So let's see. Oh, y'all having the Justin Fields argument. Do they love him or do they hate him? I get it. That's Justin Fields though, man. That is Justin Fields. And that is not about to go away. Because his performance tonight is going to have that argument continuing on. You're either going to say that you saw him tonight and he's trash because he couldn't throw the ball consistently, and you're going to call him a running back. But if you're a supporter of it, you're going to say, yo, when it's not there, he still has the ability to pick up chunk yardage. He still has the ability to put your offense in a position to score. So, like I said, man, I get it one way or the other. If you're pro Justin Fields, I can see your argument that you're going to make, and I can get it if you're anti Justin Fields. I can definitely see the argument that you're going to make, man, but that's the type of player that he is. And yeah, this is one way or the other how we would have to live with it if that was what we were going to do. I do also feel like it would be a little bit different with Arthur Smith in terms of how he would call plays for him. I think we saw that tonight also, right? Russell Wilson didn't get any of that zone read stuff. Justin Fields comes in. His first play is what? Going zone read, right? Everything became more RPO, run pass option, get him on the perimeter. Whereas with Russ, it was more QB under, play action pass. Let me try to, be more of a conventional style. It was just the protection kept breaking down. But that's the interesting part with Justin Fields, man. And yeah, it's going to be people that are still going to say, man, I would rather have that than, the guy that's going to take the sacks and make the safe play. But Russ, he still gives you the ability to stretch the field. And I think that's the part that, as the former player, and even when I look at how Coach Thomas kind of handled both of those guys, I think that we're all going to be in agreement, or I think that Coach T and I are going to be in agreement with it being Russ, because it's just the quarterback element is different than the high-end athlete element that we're seeing or that we saw tonight with Justin Fields. Ooh, now Mike Mula asked me how did I feel about Najee Harris tonight. I thought that Najee was straight, man. I didn't think that he had a ton of opportunities, but I thought that he ran. I know he had the one that kind of spit was a decent run. Let me see what he ended with. 4 for 17, 4.3 per. Yeah, he had a 9-yard run. I know he had one. Like I said, man, it was a pretty decent run. But yeah, man, Najee's looking good. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Naj. The new and improved little leaner version. It's a little bit more of a burst with it. Still, not this home run threat with, great breakaway speed, but I will say I think that he is playing faster, and I think that he is also playing with more of the mindset now that I'm trying to run you over versus trying to run around you and be more of a finesse back that we've typically had our issues with Najee in the beginning part of the season. We'd always scratch our head and be like, yo, why does he run like he's a small running back in August, September? Then you get to the cold months and now let's say he wants to run you over. I think that for him tonight, he did kind of continue on with his being physical, finishing downhill, running behind his pads. And I think as long as he does that, man, we're going to be fine with him, man. So I liked that. Jalen Warren, like I said, want to know what's going on with the hammy. Hopefully it wasn't a pull, just a tweak, because we don't want anything that's going to sideline him or hamper him throughout the season, because we do have very high expectations for Jalen Warren. But like I said, man, shout out to Najee, though, man. Yeah, Fly kind of looks the same, man. Looks the same. David Decker asked my thoughts on GP Pickens. Man, I thought that Pickens looked like Pickens. We didn't give him a ton of opportunities. We obviously know he had the great catch. Just couldn't get that second foot in bounds tonight. But yeah, man, I think when we actually decide to scheme up plays for GP and make him a focal point, he is going to be fine. That's GP, man. Yeah, and I think last week we saw a glimpse of that. I think this week it was more dialed down or dialed back. Part of that could have been because of the way the offensive line was kind of giving up pressure. We didn't get a chance to see some of it develop. But to me, I think that just Phil's, or not just Phil, I feel like George Pickens, man, thought that, yeah, like I said, man, for him, man, he kind of looks like, yeah, GP, like he ready to go. So shout out to him for that, man. 100K JPEG. He said he's praying Roman Wilson is wide receiver too. Man, I'm just trying to see the homie, man. We know he's been limited out. Well, not even limited. He's been out. Had that ankle injury a couple weeks ago, man, and hasn't had a chance to return fully just yet. So we will see, man, when he does get out there, because he's very talented. But that's a part of the game too. You got to be available so we can actually see you be productive out there, man. But if not, though, Van Jefferson, man, I thought that he played well. Thought that he's continuing to, build a rapport. We could see Russ going to him a little bit more. I'm like, all right, I see what you're trying to do, Van. Keep that Ayuk up off for you. Even though we already know that the team has a trade agreed upon with the Niners for Ayuk. We're just waiting on Ayuk to make a decision one way or the other. So, yeah, take that for how you want to take it in terms of the team's confidence in our current wide receivers. Shout out to Chris Arkwright, showing love with his 10th super chat. 10 super chats by you, dude. Salute that, man. From the heart. From the heart. Says Tomlin needs to channel George Costanza on challenges and do the exact opposite of what he'd normally do. Oh my gosh. Yes, I think that's a great idea. Shout out to Costanza too, man. If you know, you know. All right. Dude, yeah. I'm literally sitting with wifey. I'm just like, yo, why did he challenge this one? Like, challenge the one last week. Last week was when we're all like, throw the flag. It's a catch. This week we're like, don't throw the flag. It's not a catch. So I don't know. Maybe he's trolling us. Y'all ever thought about that? Maybe Coach Tomlin is trolling us with the challenges. Maybe that's like his I don't know, his kink or something. Like, yo, I'm gonna make sure that I've just messed up on challenges intentionally. Like, that's his thing. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I thought that was a simple one today. I'm like, why are we challenging this one? If you ain't challenged that one last week, we'll challenge this one. So I don't know, man. I just don't know. Alrighty. And yes, Chris Arkwright, he's done that over several seasons, though. I know. I like I said, that's why I think it's like his thing. Everybody has a thing. I think it's his thing, man. He's like, yo, I'm messing with this challenge this time. Boop. Challenge this one. Nah, I don't want that one. I'm keeping it to myself. Don't challenge him. Boop. I think he be on that, man. That's just how he is, man. This is how he is. Shout out to Coach Tito, bro. All right, let me see what we talking about. Oh, Galaxy, yes. We've talked some Broderick, man. He said he's gonna bounce back next week. That's what we're going with. All right, just chalking up to a bad night at the preseason office, and yeah, bounce back next week. But yeah, just don't throw the tape away though. If you Broderick, don't throw it away. Look at it, own it. See what you did right, see what you did wrong, man. But definitely got to be better though, right? Sleeper _10 or _twin, excuse me for that one. Showing some love with the super chat, man, from the heart. You know I appreciate you, baby. He says, can we build offense around Fields running every time he sees a man coverage and try to keep defenses in zone coverage, be successful like Lamar Jackson year one? So this is the thing. As we currently sit here, Justin Fields, if I'm being just brutally honest, is the poor man's version of Lamar Jackson as we currently sit here today. You think Lamar Jackson in year one, this was what, we're saying from Justin Fields in year three, essentially, right? Or in his third year, essentially. Not really the ability to take advantage consistently throwing the football, but utilizing an electric gift in terms of his legs, and that has kept him afloat. The difference I feel like with Lamar Jackson was he kind of picked up on, I got to throw this ball, and he really was able to be more consistent in that vein, even though he's still not perfect. Let's not act like, Lamar's this 4,000-yard passer annually either. But I just feel like he's been able to be more of a, let me hone in on my in the pocket throwing the football a little bit more than Justin Fields has at this standpoint. So could you formulate an offense around Justin Fields' legs? Yes. Right now, I think we're still going to get the Chicago version versus a true Lamar Jackson Baltimore version, solely because I have not seen enough in stadium of Justin still being able to connect on some of these throws. Like I said, we saw tonight where wasn't able to be connected. Man, you got the receiver, like I said, down the grass. If you put a little bit more air, a little bit more inside, you hear it. It's a touchdown. I'm not even the one saying that. That's the NFL vet. Charlie Batch even said it. Like I said, when in doubt, I just trust the guys that actually did it, not the people that have watched it and have strong opinions on it. Like I said, C Batch, he said it himself. Put a little more air into that thing, a little bit to the inside is a touchdown. I know from my perspective, defending those type of plays, I'm like, yeah, man, you put more air into that, that receiver is running up under that and it's an easy catch, man. That's just how I look at it. But once again, everybody can have their opinion on it. But that would be the thing that I will say for Lamar. I feel like he's been able to graduate and really be more of a thrower while still using his legs. Whereas with Fields, we still want to see that part. I think that if he can really hone in on it, he has the traits to weaponize it. If you're playing, Justin Fields and he can throw like you're talking about, or he can get to that Lamar level, then yeah, you have a real weapon because you can't play man-to-man defense versus a guy like that. He could pull it down and run. And then if you play zone, he can really pick you apart. Like I said, he's capable of it, but we just haven't seen it consistently come to fruition from him. And until you get that, it's very hard to live like that week to week because now you have to put into account, can he stay healthy throughout this process? Is he going to be turning the ball over in this process? Because you can't turn the ball over playing this style of run heavy QB, just let him kind of be the athlete out there. And that's why you would see at times the Bears getting down and you're like, man, now they're in that dog fight, so to speak. So those are the two things, like I said, man, that just kind of make me a little bit more hesitant about it. And it also shortens the game because that clock is running now. So that was the other part with Lamar Jackson when, in terms of how he has had success in Baltimore, most games, offense, you're getting, 8 to 10 possessions. The way you play the Ravens is usually 6 to 8, if that, because that clock is running. They're sustaining drives, running the football. So that's another element of it, man. So like I said, with Justin Fields, is it a situation where you could do that? Sure, yes. But I do feel like you limit yourself and now you put yourself in a little bit more of a bind in terms of having a smaller margin for error. And we've already lived that life these past 2 years with Kenny, Mitch, and Mason, so to speak, man. Hey, man, shout out to X Concepts. He says Cameron Johnston for the MVP. Now, I'm with you, man. Cameron was booming tonight, man. 60-plus yard punch multiple times, flipping the field. I mean, shoot, I thought the one time we was about to get a safety on Deontay Hardy, man. I'm like, you tripping running to that end zone on this punt. But, shout out to that punting action. And like I said, Cameron is a big free agent it was a big acquisition for us this offseason. And we could see why. This is what he's capable of, man. And that's why he got paid the way we paid him, man. So shout out to the homie, man. Shout out to him. But yeah, it felt good to see that. That's a big reason also why, we were able to get off the field at times on defense. Because if they're starting that drive at the, 40-yard line or close to midfield, 2 first downs, they're in scoring range. But when they got to start that drive back at the 10, back at the 20, back at the 25, that's just a long way for them to come, man. So shout out to Cameron for that, man. We definitely going to need that. Definitely going to need that. All righty. But yeah, man. I think that will do it. Like I said, for the night, man. We got us an hour in. It is just preseason, so we're not going to overreact or a trip to it. But like I said, hopefully y'all enjoyed yourselves tonight. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. This is what we do. And we're only going to do more of these, like I said, as the season comes along. We obviously know we got the podcast multiple days. We back to 3 days going forward, man. All right, so definitely tap in with that so you can hear the homie Deek's perspective on this and the homie TG as well, man. But like I said, man, that's that. So y'all stay safe out there. And until next time, baby. Peace.